sandollar.bs for more information.
It's time now for a check on tonight's weather forecast. Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean joins us in studio with the latest temperatures. Good evening, Basil.
Good evening, Jim and Anita. Outside of our studios, we're under partly cloudy skies. Temperature 94 degrees, relative humidity at 63%. We have east-northeast winds at 5 miles per hour. The barometric pressure 1,008.2 millibars. That's 29.77 inches. And your temperatures around the family balance this evening, picking up 89 degrees in Marsh, Abaco, Green Torquay, also Freeport at 89 degrees, 88 in the Barry Islands. Allenstown, Bimini 86, 88 in Harbor Island. Roxanne, Eleuthera 92 degrees, 88 in Black Point, Exuma. Also Kemps Bay, St. Andrews at 88 degrees. Fresh Creek, Central Andrews registering 90 degrees. 89 at Otterstown, Cat Island, San Salvador, and Rumkey. Georgetown, Exuma at 91 degrees. 90s in Ragged Island, Cloudstown, Long Island, Crooked Island, Betsy Bay, and in Acklands, Matchetown, Inago 82, and the Turks and Caicos Islands at 85 degrees. And your boating forecast for all areas through tomorrow. Those light and variable winds will continue with flat seas 1 to 3 feet. Low tide tonight at 11:55. A second low tide taking place at 11:51 tomorrow morning. And then in the tropics, we have Franklin, which is some 320 miles now to the north-northeast of Grand Turks, moving towards the north-northwest at about 8 miles per hour. Maximum sustained winds at 100 miles per hour, making Franklin a Category 2 hurricane. And we expect it to become a major hurricane. That's by Tuesday of next week as it continues on that northward track. And then we have newly formed tropical storm just near the Yucatan Peninsula. This is our packing winds of about 40 miles per hour, and we expect it to become a hurricane in the next couple of days as it continues to move across the warm waters of the Atlantic. So for those of you once again traveling to the Florida area, particularly on the Gulf Coast side of the Florida Peninsula and the Panhandle, this is certainly going to be a threat for those areas over the next several days. Satellite pictures showing the moisture associated with the tropical storm still kind of getting itself organized. Most of the shower activity is removed pretty much to the south of that system, and this is Franklin just over there to the east of the Bahamas, and those feeder bands continue to affect parts of the central and southeastern islands, so there will be periodic periods of showers and thunderstorms over the central and southeastern islands as Franklin continues to make that trek, and there'll also be some sea swells as a result of that system as well, so boaters beware of that factor. Tonight, mainly clear, very warm, a low temperature around 81 degrees, and tomorrow, pretty nice day, partly sunny, still hot though, 90 degrees for your high temperature. Extended weather forecast. Summer-type weather right through Tuesday. We'll get a little bit more showers and thunderstorms on Wednesday, and that'll be primarily as a result of those outer feeder bands from Franklin as it continues on that northward track. But as it continues to pull away, we will see improving conditions as we head into the weekend, with those daytime temperatures getting back into those toasty range, those low 90 temperatures. Chimanita.
Thanks, Basil. Just a reminder, the Education Minister's back-to-school address will air immediately after this newscast at 7:30, so stay tuned. And that will end the Bahamas Tonight, the weekend edition. We thank you for continuing to make ZNS your #1 news and information network, as only the sun covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. On behalf of the entire team, thanks for watching and good night.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
The following is a national back-to-school address by Education Minister, the Honorable Glenys Hannah Martin.
Good evening, my fellow Bahamians, my brothers and sisters, and to all people of goodwill throughout the length and breadth of this nation. It is my humble privilege to address you once again as public schools reopen and as children and young people all over the country return to their classrooms. These school campuses are incredibly sensitive and dynamic spaces. Important work is undertaken there every day with the objective of effecting the healthy development and empowering spirit and energy and inciting the boundless talents of an emerging generation. But the realization of these objectives is not restricted to this space and requires broad-based inputs. It is the entire village which contributes either directly or indirectly to these objectives and in forging a future of hope. It takes a village. You as taxpayers and we as policymakers have willingly accepted that a significant percentage of national revenue should be invested in education. And each year, tens of millions of dollars are invested in education. This is because we know and accept that education is a national priority and the key to our future, as it is the preparation ground for emerging generations. It is our role to ensure levels of accountability for the investment of these resources, in particular in how well stated outcomes are attained, and in the interest of the Bahamian people, and in securing a great future for our country. In the Ministry of Education, we have therefore determined to pause and take a critical look at our educational system, to assess past outcomes, measure current results, and research and study strategies for reform and progress. We know and are of the strong conviction that with the right strategies and formula, we will procure greater yield and stronger outcomes for our young people. At a minimum, we must ensure that our children leave that space fully literate, numerate, technically skilled, able to think critically, and imbued with self-confidence as they enter their adult years or move on to tertiary or further education. In preparation for this course of action, it was deemed important to strengthen the network of parents, teachers, administrators, and the ministry itself, to ensure better information flow and collaboration, and as a buttress of support for the development of our young people. Just 3 days ago, we met and interacted once again with thousands of parents and school board members nationwide. The day before that, we met with almost 2,000 teachers. And recently, a very successful in-person conclave was hosted in New Providence with administrators from schools all over the country who are our leaders in the field. This networking is critical. All stakeholders must be on the same page and with a singular vision in this paramount enterprise. And it is necessary that all hands are on deck in achieving the declared objectives. It takes a village. In light of what we seek to achieve, we therefore cannot simply accept the status quo. We have clearly envisioned what our public school students must manifest, and therefore, much work is underway to revise, test, analyze, and research strategies and approaches to assure the greatest effectiveness for achieving these goals and objectives. A component of this process is nearing completion, and we expect imminently a preliminary report to be developed to the ministry from the University of the Bahamas. This preliminary report emanates from research commissioned by the ministry to investigate factors which impact learning of our children in the Bahamas, and it will assist in the formulation of new strategies and a review of policies so as to maximize student attainment based on the empirical research. In similar fashion, the ministry is now commissioning a comprehensive mathematics study which will analyze the teaching methods and learning patterns of mathematics in our public school system. This will inform future policies and practices so that more and more of our young people are able to achieve mastery in mathematics. A fundamental prerequisite to all of our efforts, however, is the requirement to fully understand and accurately assess the impact of learning loss as a result of the extended shutdowns in the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. We must not forget that for almost 2 years, our students were not in face-to-face instruction, and many children were not receiving any instruction at all. All of the research globally in both developed and developing countries has shown massive learning loss suffered by students at all levels, but with children from poor communities being hardest hit. These countries are themselves grappling with how to redress these deficits. So it was mandatory that the Bahamas have a full understanding of how our own children and young people have been affected, so as to stave off what has been forecasted as being potentially catastrophic to many young people all over the world and in their respective countries. While we understand and greatly appreciate that individual teachers in the classroom nationwide moved immediately, and in this they're to be commended, to making their own assessments of the students in their classes, it was clear there was a need to conduct universal testing with standardized measures in order to reach a full appreciation of the nature and extent of the impact on our students. Approximately 40,000 plus students at all levels, including pre-primary and in every public school in the nation, were tested. This testing has yielded empirical data which every teacher can access for every child in his or her class. The results of this universal standardized testing has revealed that nationally, 44% of our students require intervention. This is a significant finding, which requires intense and sustained interventions for all students affected. Remediation efforts by the ministry started as early as May of this year in some of our schools, with ongoing assessments being completed to mitigate gaps and foster solutions. The ministry will provide personalized, self-paced, targeted support to address the learning gaps. We will also provide training for parents so they can assist children at home. Students will be pulled out of classes for an hour every day for literacy and numeracy sessions. I urge parents to position themselves on the front line of their children's education and closely monitor their progress and interact more greatly with their teachers. For our part, we will do all that is necessary to help your children, our children, recover and catch up, stabilize, and get back on track. I am confident that with all hands on deck, our children will, with resiliency, will overcome these obstacles. We're embarking on the critical exercise of curriculum reform, and a number of innovations are already underway. Beginning this year, and for all grade 1 students, the first term will be concentrated on literacy and numeracy solely. This is to ensure that the curriculum at the lower primary level is realigned to meet the critical needs of students to promote mastery of foundational skills. We will monitor the performance of every student with a view of providing targeted support. Every child counts, and no child will be left behind. Further, as part of the commitment to track and intervene as necessary, new protocols have been implemented for the GLAD exam. The GLAD exam is an assessment carried out on grades 3 and 6 each year to test age-appropriate learning. Beginning with this year's results, which have already been shared with schools, a communication strategy will be deployed to ensure information flow with all stakeholders, especially with the relevant teacher and parent. Appropriate responses will promptly follow, which will identify students at all levels of performance and, where necessary, create interventions which will include pull-out sessions and the monitoring and tracking of students' progress as they move into succeeding grades. We will not accept a state of affairs where children are simply moving through the system, falling behind, feeling lost and frustrated with diminished self-esteem in what may feel like an alienating environment. The curriculum reform underway is creating greater access to technical and vocational and career education for boys and girls. The Technical Cluster Program, which offers technical studies at junior high schools for students in grades 7 to 9, is being expanded to students as an introductory foundation in technical studies, which are later developed in senior high school. In grade 7, students are given modules of 4-week blocks on areas of recycling, small home wiring, carpentry, small engine repair, and plumbing. In grade 8, certifications are introduced through precision exams, where the semesters will be divided into electronics, plumbing, and carpentry. And finally, in grade 9, a 1-year program on construction foundation is laid out, where again students can receive a certification. In the senior high years, there is more in-depth study in these subjects, leading to accredited certification for the workplace. The culmination of this reform that is underway will be the creation of the Technical and Vocational Polytechnic, now under development, which will be available for grades 10 through 12 and will create an exciting new paradigm for young people in these skills, which are a way to the future. This year, we have with deliberation ensured that access to all of these programs has increased. 50 technical teachers in total will deliver instruction in schools in Abaco, Andros, Acklands, Crooked Island, Bimini, Cat Island, Eleuthera, Exuma, Grand Bahama, in Nagua, Long Island, and in New Providence. The Technical Cadet Corps will be relaunched in a few days in partnership with industry partners, where students can again receive accredited certifications for the workplace and apprenticeship opportunities and employment opportunities, and hopefully opportunities for scholarships for tertiary education. We've expanded the course offerings in the TCCP, widening the exposure to conventional and unconventional careers and potentially making the country more globally competitive. The curriculum reform underway is placing more central to the learning process the arts and athletics, and we are in the process of putting in place the human and physical infrastructure to effect 21st century excellence so that the incredible innate talents of our young people are developed fully. I will speak more to that in the future. I am proud that we are bringing equitable focus to our children with special needs. This year, the ministry has also recruited more speech pathologists, guidance counselors, and school psychologists to give support to our students and to help them progress and thrive. Also, I highlight the wellness program that started in May of this year that was spearheaded by a dynamic committee of personnel at the ministry to address the needs of the whole child. By introducing a national health and wellness initiative to augment the work of the guidance and counseling department with a goal to provide psychosocial help for students and staff. We are governed by the philosophical commitment that every child counts. And so far as is humanly possible, and given the necessary resources, we will assure that each child is given a fair opportunity to develop his or her potential. The high school diploma has been reformed over the last 9 months as per recommendations of a multi-agency commission which traveled the nation and listened to the concerns and observations of parents, students, teachers, and the community. In summary, while students still require the 4 BJCs, only English and maths are mandatory subjects, and students will be able to opt for any other 2 subjects offered at BJC level to make up the 4 subjects. An honors diploma has been introduced for the high-performing students, and a technical and vocational pathway for students is being developed for those students who have opted for the technical stream. The BJC and BGCSE results have all been released to schools previously, and the ministry will give an overview of these results in a few days. The ministry has, through a teacher morale committee, undertaken a study of factors which impact teacher morale, which is seen to be a global concern. A number of recommendations have been accepted from this committee, and the first of these recommendations, now being implemented, is the annual award of $250 for teachers to assist in preparing their classrooms at the beginning of the school year. This is an important ritual in the profession, and previously teachers have used their resources to effect this outcome. But this year, many teachers have already received this sum, and the remaining number will be paid in the next few days. Other recommendations are being marshaled by an implementation committee, which it is hoped will have the effect of enhancing the teaching profession. The career path for teachers has been resurrected, and the 2023 assessment of 157 applicants has been concluded. In the next few weeks, we will be pleased to forward to the Public Service Commission recommendations for promotions of the teachers who have successfully demonstrated excellence in pedagogy. To help address the global shortage of teachers, the Teacher Cadet Corps has been revitalized to incentivize students to enter the teaching profession. School safety and security is a high priority for the ministry. Just a few months ago, Specially trained police officers were reintroduced to select school campuses throughout the country. And just last Friday, another 28 officers received training and certification and are all now internationally certified as school resource officers. These officers are expected to be posted at additional schools throughout the Family Islands and New Providence. Along with this, research will be conducted in restorative practices to address behavior management on our campuses. This will allow for a holistic approach to student development. Their mandate, in conjunction with each school's administration, will extend to addressing issues such as bullying, and they will deliver classroom instruction in these matters. Additionally, there will be appropriate interventions and tracking of students showing dysfunctional or disruptive behaviors or who have gone missing from schools. One such SRO, who's been posted in the Luther District, Sergeant Pratt, captured the attention of the international body for his work at Preston H. Albury High, including the music program for students. And just a few weeks ago, he was honored at the SRO conference in the United States for his incredible work. I wish to thank my colleague, the Minister of National Security, the Commissioner of Police, and Chief Superintendent Hannah for their partnership with the Ministry of Education in this important matter. Every school-age child must attend school instruction. If they're not in school, where are they? The ministry has tasked itself with finding every child, and to this end, additional attendance officers have been recruited who are on the ground at schools and in communities. Last year, January, administrators, teachers, union officials, civil society, and others took to the streets in school communities throughout the Bahamas, knocking on doors, seeking out children missing from the classroom. The ministry has also received the assistance of the Prime Minister's Delivery Unit in focusing on schools which previously had higher rates of absenteeism. The efforts are paying dividends. School attendance rates have soared to unprecedented levels. In a few weeks, the free breakfast program for students will roll out in a first phase at several schools nationwide. This very important initiative will meet hunger needs and assist in ensuring all children attend school. My brothers and sisters, each year there's much discussion about school repairs. Unfortunately, the physical plant of many schools have been neglected over the years. This year and last year, the ministry, in conjunction with the Ministries of Works and Finance, have undertaken more than repairs in the narrow sense, and in several instances, schools are undergoing an absolute redevelopment, and significant resources have had to be invested. Last year, it was discovered, for example, that T.A. Thompson Junior High had deteriorated into a safety hazard. Sybil Strawn Primary had been virtually abandoned in a state of disrepair. C.H. Reeves Junior High needed significant rehabilitation. Government High School was in a deplorable state, and very little work had been done over the many years, for example, at R.M. Bailey Senior High School, and Woodcock Primary required significant rehabilitation. In these and other schools, contractors have effected serious redevelopment works, not simple repairs, and they have done so in an abbreviated summer period of only a few weeks and have worked day and night to meet deadlines. I thank these contractors for their incredible work ethic and the Ministry of Works for its oversight of these projects. We expect that on 3 campuses only will some final works remain, which will be completed after school hours. None of this will impede school opening tomorrow, August 28, 2023. Please check your children's school's Facebook page for details, as many schools are staggering student attendance by grade, beginning tomorrow with orientation for the new students. We do know that many schools nationwide need attention also, and we will do all that we can to bring the necessary focus and responses. In this year's budget cycle, we have on the agenda the construction of classroom blocks at C.I. Gibson Junior High, Arthurstown Comprehensive, Cat Island, Cooperstown Primary, Abaco, Patrick J. Bethel High, Abaco, an administrative blocks in Foxtown Primary, an administrative block at Palmdale Primary, lunch pavilions at Central Andrews High and West End Primary. We expect the Staniel Key Comprehensive School to open in a few weeks. Ragged Island and Holmes Rock High Schools are expected to open in January of 2024. And the Low Sound School is nearing completion, with new schools being targeted for San Salvador, Georgetown, Exuma, and Inagua. Our students must get back into the classroom. There is a lot of ground to cover and recover. Education is a human right and is critical to the future of our nation, and will dictate how our young people will enter the future and what our country looks like in the years to come. The dedicated team of the Ministry of Education is working extremely hard. Our administrators are working hard. Our teachers are working hard. We will not accept mediocrity. We will not contemplate defeat. We believe in our young people and have high expectations of their success. We will fight for the future of our children. In this, there can be no compromise. I ask that you join us in this fight. We invite your prayers for the covering of our schools and for the strength of our teachers. The stakes are high, and we have only one country, and what a beautiful country it is. I thank you.
The proceeding was a national back-to-school address by Education Minister, the Honorable Glenys Hannah Martin.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People Station.